Good evening and welcome to the regular council meeting of October 28, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I would ask the Deputy Clerk to conduct roll call, please.
Reeve Emo.
Present.
Councillor Legree.
Present.
Councillor McWhorter.
Present.
Councillor McDonald.
Present.
Councillor Sobalski.
Present.
Councillor Dick. Reeve Emo, we do have quorum to continue.
Thank you. I'll proceed with the land acknowledgement. As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we're meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we're extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. If you could please stand for O Canada. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, thank you, Council. We have a public meeting. The first one is with regards to a zoning bylaw amendment, 197 Raglan Street South, roll number 47-48-000-055-06300. And I'll turn to Mr. Withers, our planner, please.
Thank you, Reeve Emo. This is a public meeting under the Planning Act. It is for the purpose of obtaining public comments on the application. For zoning bylaw amendment applications, this is a zoning bylaw amendment application. The way this works is the applicant or the authorized agent has an opportunity to explain to the committee the nature of the application and answer any questions. And then all members of the public are given an opportunity to provide any comments in respect to the application. And then has an opportunity to also address the committee. And any comments that are provided, any information submitted, whether it's orally or in writing, becomes part of the public record, and that can be made available at any point in various forms, including the town's website, other types of publications, and that's all in accordance with the Planning Act. And if anyone does wish to speak, we just ask any member of the public provide their name and address for the record and their contact information on the sign-in sheet. We have a sign-in sheet, and following the hearing would be great. Just a note in regards to appeal rights. For zoning bylaw amendment applications, only the applicant, the registered owner, and specified public agencies are permitted to appeal the decision of council on the matter. And that has to be done in accordance with the instructions on the notice of decision. And specifically, there are no third-party appeals, meaning if you are not one of those bodies, the applicant, the registered owner that the application applies to, or a specified public body, you cannot appeal the decision of council. I can confirm with respect to notice that under the Planning Act, the notice requirements have been met. Thank you.
So the purpose of this portion of the meeting is to hear from the public and delegations. Council, if you send comments that's watching, they should address them to Mr. Withers by a certain time, which is...
Well, written comments, we should be in receipt of them. Certainly, they can be forwarded along for the file, but any eligible appellant has 20 days following the decision of council. And I suppose that given this is going to committee first and then to council, if we did have comments within the next couple of weeks, we could make sure that they get to council before the decision is finalized. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, for information, this is a public meeting regarding this application to amend the Town of Renfrew zoning bylaw. And it's an existing building in the C1 zone to permit a ground floor apartment at the rear. C.1.2 is the fees and charges bylaw, and it's a public meeting to review and discuss the proposed 2026 fees and charges bylaw. A comprehensive list of the proposed fees, are attached to the staff report. List is E.3.3-2026, fees and charges on the agenda. And again, this is an opportunity for public comment and questions from the floor. Council, you will have the opportunity when we get to E.3.3 to discuss this. Okay, so not seeing anyone, we'll move forward. There are no delegations. There are no presentations and announcements. Freaky Friday and Monster Mash family dances were another tremendous success in downtown Renfrew. And I'd like to extend my sincere thanks on behalf of the Town of Renfrew and Council to the Downtown Renfrew Business Improvement Association for their continued hard work in organizing this annual event, and to the many local businesses who participated. This celebration has quickly become a favorite for families not only here in Renfrew, but from across the Ottawa Valley community. I'd also like to recognize Town of Renfrew staff and the Renfrew Public Library for their outstanding efforts in hosting the Monster Mash family dance and the haunted house at the library. Their creativity and dedication helped make this year's event such a memorable one for our community. And next, I'd like to offer congratulations to the Renfrew Area Chamber of Commerce on behalf of Council and our community on another successful Pinnacle of Business Excellence Awards. It was a wonderful evening celebrating our local business community with an excellent meal catered by the Swiss Alps. On behalf of the town, congratulations to all nominees and award winners. We're grateful for everything our local businesses contribute each day not only through the services they provide, but through their ongoing dedication and support for our community. The full list of award recipients and nominees can be viewed on the Chamber's website, and we are looking to bring them to Council at some point just to acknowledge and give them some certificates. This week, town staff came together to celebrate our incredible team at the Town of Renfrew's Employment Appreciation Lunch. We're so grateful for their hard work, dedication, and commitment our employees show every day in serving our community. A special shout out goes to those celebrating milestone anniversaries this year. Jeff Nabodny, 15 years of service. Mike Forche, 10 years of service. Jesse Gale, 10 years of service. Kelly Latondres, 10 years of service. Jen Fleming, 5 years of service. Logan Butson, 5 years of service. Thank you to all of our staff for everything you do to make Renfrew a great place to live, work, and thrive. And thank you to the CAO and whoever helped her for organizing and putting together this event. I'd like to offer save the dates. Registration is now open for the Renfrew Santa Claus Parade. Join us on Friday, December 6th at 5:30 for this annual holiday tradition. Float registration is free, and all parade details are available on the town's website and social media channels. We encourage everyone attending to bring a donation for the local food bank to help support families in our community this holiday season. And again, you can join us if you wish for the Light Up the Square. Join the Town of Renfrew and the downtown Renfrew BIA on Saturday, November 29 for Light Up the Square as we light the tree in Low Square and officially kick off the holiday season. The celebration runs from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. At the same time, downtown will come alive with the heart of Renfrew Market, where you can shop for unique gifts, enjoy live music, and even visit with Mrs. Claus. If you would like to register as a vendor, please contact Wanda at the BIA. We look forward to celebrating the start of the holiday season with you. And again, please remember Remembrance Day services spread throughout our greater community, but more specifically the one that is held at the Cenotaph on November the 11th. And with that, Council, is there anybody who would like to add announcements or information? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to Committee of the Whole. That Renfrew Town Council convene as Committee of the Whole to consider reports for recommendation to Council. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Cebulski, second by Councillor McDonald. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. And Councillor McDonald, that's very nice shirt, of color. Give my regards to your family. They're doing a great job. And we'll move to E1, nothing at this time. And E2, Development and Environment. So E2.1, Director Withers.
Thank you, Reeve. Most of this flows from our public meeting. This is with respect to file number D14-155 being a zoning bylaw amendment with respect to lands known municipally as 197 Raglan Street South, Town of Renfrew. This is the All Risks Insurance building right beside the Scotiabank. And the applicant is Robin Postma of Jackstev Holdings. The purpose of the proposed amendment is to rezone the property to permit a floor apartment in the rear. So we have an existing mixed-use commercial building, 2 units upstairs. Mr. Postma would like to use about 1,000 square feet of the building at the rear and turn that into a third dwelling on the property. A small property, about 25 feet wide, about 0.13 acres. I'm just going to swap my mic. Thank you. As I noted, is this good now? Sounds okay. Okay, existing 2-story building, existing parking lot, 9 parking spaces to the rear of the building. There are 2 entrances at the rear of the building. One is for a hallway going up to the 2 dwelling units upstairs, and the other is a rear entrance to the commercial, the main floor commercial. There's also a front entrance, obviously, on the main street. The proposed residential unit would, again, be about 1,000 square feet. It would utilize that second commercial entrance at the rear of the building. And then patrons of the commercial building would technically need to kind of walk from the parking area kind of around the block and then to the main street. We'll note that there are, I'm going to say, informal desire lines that provide other alternatives. We can't necessarily endorse them without legal access, but we are advised and we're satisfied that legal access exists, so that is fine. With respect to the official plan, this is supported. It's general commercial designation, permits mixed use, in fact permits residential uses above and behind the main commercial corridor. So this is fine for the purposes of our official plan. The challenge and the relief required is with our zoning bylaw, which only permits residential uses on the above grade stories, so the second and above, nothing on the main floor. That needs to be considered on a site-specific basis through a zoning bylaw amendment. That's what we're doing here. This would move the lands to a downtown commercial exception 11 zone to permit the main floor residential unit. We received no public comments as of the date of this report and have not yet still not received any, even following the report to today's date. We received no comments in opposition from any agencies, so we are clear in that regard. Generally supported by the provincial policy statement, again, the official plan, and the requested relief to the zoning bylaw, we are fine with as staff. So we are recommending this to you this evening, subject to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, what I'll do is read the motion and get a mover and seconder, if you don't mind, please. And the motion is that Committee of the Whole recommend that Renfrew Town Council approve application number D-14-155, a zoning bylaw amendment for the lands known municipally as 197 Raglan Street South, having the roll numbers 47-48-000-055-06300. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, second Councillor McWhirter. So committee members, are there any comments, questions? Okay. So with that, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you, committee. And quickly, Director Withers, by year end, is it possible to generate a bit of a report outlining how many new residences or dwellings have been added to the stock this year? Because I note, I think in a conversation yesterday, you indicated to me that we had 6 new units over top of what is the post office, which weren't on the market, and we have 10 units in what's used to be known as the McPhail Perkins building, and then we've got this one. So if you have the time, by the end of the year, that might be a nice, maybe an end-of-year message from council to the community, just about some of the things that, metrics that we can measure, if that's okay with you. Thank you. Council, would that be useful to you as well? Great. Thank you. Director Withers or CAO, do we need as a motion, or are you comfortable with the staff direction?
For record's sake, it would be cleaner if there was a motion to direct staff.
Okay, I would take a motion from the chair, or from the floor, if you don't mind, please. Okay, and so the motion, if I'm reading your mind properly, is that we ask the planning department to generate a report with some numbers indicating what types of dwellings have been created this year and added to the housing stock, whether they're apartments and or new builds. Is that okay? And
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. And could I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor McWhirter. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you. And thank you, Director, for taking this on. We appreciate it. And next we move to E3.1, the upcoming tax sales. That Committee of the Whole received the upcoming tax sale information report as information. So could I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor McWhirter. And we'll turn to Deputy Treasurer Ferguson.
Thank you, Reeve. To Council, this report is just an update to provide Council with a little bit of information on some pending tax sale properties. So on an ongoing basis, we are monitoring the arrears status. In August 2024, the staff sent a list of 15 properties to real tax recovery specialists. They assist municipalities in collecting outstanding property tax arrears. From there, the first notices went out to all 15 properties. Once those were received, there were 10 properties that actually came in that either paid in full or set up some sort of payment plan in order to get their taxes and past due taxes paid up. That left us with 5 properties. 2 of the properties identified in the 15 are forfeited corporate properties. This expedites the timeline that would otherwise be a little bit, probably about 6 to 8 months longer, approximately. So on October 22nd, 25, the vacant lot and the 60 on Lawrence Street and 61 Lawrence Street were both publicly advertised for tax sale in the Eganville Leader, and was also posted in a visible location at Town Hall. This advertisement will also be posted in the Ontario Gazette on November 1st, and will be posted on the Ontario Tax Sale website. The closing date for this is November 20th, 2025 at 3 p.m. And within the report, we've also just identified a little blurb from the actual advertisement itself. So it's the description of the lands. You have 61 Lawrence Street. You also have the vacant lot. And what you'll see here is the assessed value, from the roll book, as well as the minimum tender amounts. So the minimum tender amount for the building at 61 Lawrence Street is $493,815.70, and then the vacant lot at the end of the street is just shy of $20,000. So just a little bit of more information. The dollar amounts that are within these tender amounts are items such as property taxes, any overdue water that was sitting that we transfer onto the property tax card for collection, which is a normal practice that we have, water or sewer, sorry. Additionally, any invoices that were incurred while registering these properties, creating tax certificates on title. Any of these costs through real tax is actually then applied to these tax cards as well, which are then recoverable through the tax sale process. Lastly, it's important to note, for complete example's sake, pretend the property that's at $20,000, just shy of that, pretend somebody comes in and wants to buy it for $100,000. The municipality is actually only able to collect what is owed to us. So this isn't a scenario where the town would be making money or anything like that. It is complete cost recovery, and then from there the funds are distributed back to the Superior Court of Justice, and they allocate them as it's not as they see fit, but as people come looking for it, essentially, for a lack of better term. And yeah, we do have 3 other properties that are within the tax sale threshold that will be getting final notices soon, and I think we'd probably like to get some information in front of council in advance of those as well, but we can discuss that at a future date, but just for everyone's information.
Thank you. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. With regard to the minimum tender amount of the close to $500,000, is that what's owed to us? That's the first question.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. Yes, that is the value of what's owed to us, as well as any, at the time of the ad, any outstanding invoices that we had then allocated back to their property tax card for the registration of the deed, etc. There's a list of fees that go with it.
Supplementary.
Thank you. Is there anything we could have done differently in terms of timelines to expedite the process legally before we allow an amount to get to that value?
In short, it probably could have gone up for tax sale at an earlier date, but once we got the listing, we started the process. But in short, it could have. I'd have to look at when the last payment was, or when it got into the tax sale threshold. But in short, it could have probably gone up sooner. But
I think if you dig deep into your memory, you may recall we had some discussions about this property about 2 years ago, and there were some questions. Councillor McWhirter.
Through you, Chair. So what if we don't get a bid on the property for what's owing, because the value is actually showing here to be less? What if the bid comes in lower, which is more in tune with the actual value? And also, my other question is, how would somebody who would like to bid on it go about the process? If you could just touch on that.
Please.
Thank you. Through you. So we do have tender packages at the office for pickup. It has a very detailed checklist of items that any interested party would have to go through in order to make a bid. So the process is laid out within that tender package. It's a quite comprehensive package. There's quite a bit of information on there. Second to that, your other question was, what if someone wanted to bid less than the minimum tender? We would not accept lower than the minimum tender amount as a submission.
Follow-ups?
So I'm just looking at the first item, and it says value of the property. It is less than what's owing on the property. So how long do we keep the property before we realize that we're not going to get that value, like the dollar amount that's owed? Because the value of the property looks to be quite a bit less than what's owing. I mean, there's got to be a process. We don't want to hang on to this forever, I would think.
CAO has an answer.
So there's two pieces through you, Reeve, in regards to that. So the new legislation that changed, I think it was around 2017 or 2018, when you do not receive any bids, you now have the option to re-advertise it again at a different time. You have the option to write off a portion and then re-advertise it, or to write it off and absorb the property as town ownership. In the old days, it used to be if you got no bids, you had to what's called vest it into the town's name, and it became yours whether you wanted to write it off or not. The other aspect of it, when you're looking at that assessed value, you're still also looking at the assessment value because MPAC hasn't changed anything since 2016 values, as per the hold that province has issued. So that market value you're seeing as the assessed value is actually the market value it would have been on January 1st of 2016. So there's been obvious significant market adjustments to property values over the years. So I would hedge that it likely is actually higher than what the assessed value is. The assessed value is just what we have to disclose under the legislation and is what property taxes are calculated on. But I don't believe that that would be the actual true market value of that property, as that is based off of 2016 market conditions, which is almost 10 years old now at this point. So there is kind of two pieces to that. Yes, there is a chance that we do not receive a bid, but we will have the opportunity to re-advertise or seek other processes now that the province has opened up more opportunities for how we address these properties that do not receive bids.
And if I might, Madam CEO, I do recall there was a brownfields program in the past, and it was operated by FCM and I believe the province of Ontario. Is that still an option where the property, if it stays in the ownership of the town, then can be rehabbed, brownfields, cleaning off the buildings, pulling up a couple of layers of soil if necessary, filling it back in, and then putting it out on the market? Is that still an option with additional funds?
Through you, Reeve, I'm not positive if that grant application pockets is currently open, but they do open on a somewhat cyclical basis. So if it was something that ever vested into the town's name, we could look at waiting for one of those pockets of funding opportunities to open up, use it to clean up the site, and then we'd be able to then sell it as just property owners, which you have a little more leeway. Tax sales, as you would have seen in the report from the Deputy Treasurer, that they're very legislated. We don't have any wiggle room. If an envelope comes in and it doesn't actually say for tax sale, we have to completely ignore the bid. There's a lot of very restrictive rules as to how these tax sales are run, whereas if it ever did vest to us, we would have that luxury of kind of picking and choosing and figuring out how we want to advertise it. But yes, you probably would want to look at potential cleanup or whatever you would need to do to make it more appetizing to the market if they're not interested at this point. But again, those pockets are cyclical, and I'm not positive whether they're open at this moment.
Neither am I, to be honest with you. I haven't paid attention for a while. Are there any? Councillor Sobalski, please.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve, just looking at this with the rest of us, and I understand the impact assessments could have changed in 10 years, but the building itself, I hope I don't get us in trouble by saying it, but the roof is falling in, the doors are kicked in. The intent of someone repurposing this as the intended use, which of what it used to manufacture, I just can't see it. I'm scared that this process is going to be drawn out and it's going to become our problem. So I hope not, but I can't imagine anyone even entertaining the idea of offering us $1 for it. Yes, I think it's my 2 cents.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve. Can you just clarify? I might have missed it. I think you talked about the brownfields and getting funding for that. Did you mention the structures also, or are there two separate things? Like if you had to take down a structure, is there funding for that, or is it just for the brownfields?
My faulty recollection, at best, is that there was funding through FCM, which was financed by the federal government, and may still have a program where they clean up properties, and that did include taking down derelict buildings. The buildings have to be significantly derelict, and it sounds like this one's headed towards that. So yes, they would take down the buildings under the funding. My recollection is it was not 100%. There was an internal calculus. You had to decide what you thought the rehab land was going to be worth, and then figure out what the grant would bring in, so you come back at zero, to be honest with you. And then it was pull up the soil, depending on what was dumped on the site or leaked into the. So you had to do a Schedule 1, I believe, a Schedule 2 environmental assessment as well, and then scoop away whatever soil was contaminated and replace it with fresh soil and get it ready for market. So it's a process. Okay, thank you. And if I find any more information from FCM, I'll forward it to everybody. Are there any further questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And next we will move to E3.2. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the suggested amendments to the procurement policy, and further that the appropriate bylaw is brought forward. Could I have a motion, please? Mover Councillor McDonald, second Councillor Legree, and we'll turn it to Treasurer Hodge.
Thank you. Through the Reeve, this is a policy review report for the procurement policy. I had presented this at the previous council meeting, and now it was deferred for time to be looked at and considered. This is one of the policies as part of the scheduled policy review by the town, and the attachment of the red line version is here with the agenda, and the proposed changes are there and highlighted so they can be seen. I had made note of those at the previous meeting. They had to do with the definitions section of adding definitions. It had to do with also breaking out some of the sections with more detail, and the adding of one particular point, which was the preference to make notice to local suppliers so they're aware of our procurements, and whether that was something that would like to be added to this policy. Also, other changes tended to be around technology, so to improve the ability to advertise, the ability to accept digital bids, in hopes that it would improve the procurement response and more suppliers could bid on what we're looking to procure.
Thank you. Committee, are there any questions or comments? Councillor McWhirter, please.
Yeah, under corporate signing officer, Shalmeen has been taken out, the mayor, the Reeve, and then in brackets to become deputy mayor as of November 15, 2026 per bylaw 77-2024, which amends the composition of the Renfrew Town Council. So we're adding a deputy mayor to the, and doing away with the Reeve. So in the past, so now we're adding another title to the council. Is that what I'm reading here?
If I recall, yes. That was the decision of council, was to remove the Reeves position and have the mayor supported by a revolving cast of councillors sitting in the deputy mayor's position for, I think, 8 months was how the math worked out.
So that's not going to be listed as on the ballot box as a deputy mayor, the way Reeve is, right? That's just going to be 6 councillors, and then out of that, whoever is needed to fill that void, should the mayor not be available.
As I understand it, yes. Then the 6 councillors will rotate based on highest number of votes. I think is the reading through for a period of 8 months or 8.5 months. I'm not, whatever the math works out to.
So we're not changing anything council's already decided on in the past. When we did all that, I remember we had great length of discussion about how that should work.
Approximately 13 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. And I guess directed to the CEO, just to confirm that the senior management team has gone through these for their input, and then I have a follow-up, Reeve.
Please.
So through you, Reeve, yes, all of the senior management team has gone through it and provided comments through to the treasurer, and all of them have been reflected in some of these various changes in there.
And supplementary. Thank you,
Reeve. And I guess I'm looking for a direction for regard to next steps, because I see this as step 1. And Councillor Sobalski that I had a comment about a procurement specialist, perhaps tidying up from the staff end, whether it's a third party or internal, having someone look after that. So is that something we're looking at? And or Councillor, even are you following up with that? Or?
I see the CAO. Please answer the question. I think I know what the answer is. But
so through you, Reeve, we actually do have an individual already on staff who is, I believe we refer to them as the purchasing coordinator or the AP coordinator. Purchasing assistant, sorry, I had to remember the exact term, who provides assistance to all departments on the preparation of tenders and documents. Now, yes, the departments are still involved in the process, as they're the ones who will know the technical specifications required that someone who may not be trained in engineering or arena management may not necessarily know those. But we do already have someone on staff where that is a large portion of their job, is helping manage the timing, the preparation of those documents, getting them out. So we do already have someone on staff in our Finance and Corporate Services Department that does a lot of those duties.
Any other questions? Councillor Sobalski.
Thank you. Through your Reeve, page 10 is highlighted in blue. It's one of the items that I did ask to have included into this new policy. And with respect, it's written pretty well. I just want to make sure that I'm overly comfortable with it. So is there any way that we could indicate a percentage of the design work to be done when we get an opportunity to review? this, for me, is something that I'd be willing to discuss with the table to see if there's a preferred position, like if the drawings were at 60% or 70%, created for us to have the opportunity for them to show the work that's going into it so that we can understand the work that's going into it. And it's not necessarily for us to make ultimate changes. It's just for us to understand it before it gets to the final process, because usually once you hit 80% completion of drawings, that's near tender ready. So I'm curious if, for discussion, if we should, or if we could add a percentage completion to the drawing process in this particular line item.
Okay, I'll take Director Withers first.
Thank you. Through you, Revimo. So I think 30% is a good number. That's your typical preliminary design phase. And it's at a point where you've kind of identified your alignments, but you haven't done any detailed like pipe work. I'm thinking specifically about like road jobs or say capital facilities, those kinds of things. When you're doing a design, typically your 0 to 30% is your preliminary. That's your environmental assessment, your early stage public consultation. Probably at the end of that makes sense to get council involved to take a look at the preliminary drawings and provide any feedback in terms of, do you want one sidewalk? Do you want two sidewalks? Are you happy with where the MUP is? Like what side of the road the MUP is? Are you happy with the pavement width? Those kinds of things. So it probably makes some sense at that point. I will note that, we could potentially insert some language in the procurement policy that speaks to council's involvement in the preliminary design phase. But I think ultimately this is a matter of coordinating with the director of infrastructure public works and the manager of engineering to ensure that council is inserted into the preliminary design process. I'll say that in conversation with them, they are aware of council's desire to start being involved in that process, and they're going to be working on a work plan to make sure that happens. Thank you.
Okay, so trying to capture all of that, would we be satisfied with Treasurer Hodge taking that conversation back and seeing if he could add the language in there in a fashion that was acceptable to council and made sense for the project management on the front end as well? Is that Councillor Cebulski, please?
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. And yes, I'd be happy sending it back, and I appreciate the 30% comment. I was looking for a solid number, and within that, I don't want to slow things down. I don't want to make it, I don't want us involved too much, but when we get to a point just before tender where we have the opportunity just to say that, the design's complete and here's what we've implemented, whether they've used or not used any input from council, I just want to make sure that the process doesn't go blind after 30%, that there's verification that the work's been done and we're ready for tender. I want to make sure that we have our ducks in a row, so I'm not sure if that verbiage could be added in there or if that's an extra step, one too many.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir?
Yeah, thank you. And just one more idea, just throwing it out there, maybe a capital projects working group might be something that council might want to stand up with a couple members of council on it that have particular interest in capital projects, a bit more fluency, or we can bring everything back to council for a look, but just throwing it out there as an option. Thank you.
Okay, so we could roll that one around, so when this does come back, then we can have a conversation, but it'd be nice to get the number, the percentage, a reasonable percentage placed in there. You may want to talk to the CBO as well, just to get a sense of, if there's any, if maybe the number's 35% or there's a sign-off spot for him that we should be aware of. Yes, sir, Deputy Treasurer.
And maybe Eric, Mr. Withers can correct me if I'm wrong, but the term preliminary is often used to identify a spot in one of these design projects, and I don't see the designs super often in detail, but I do see the invoices and I do see the term preliminary design quite a bit. So if it's not a percentage, maybe verbiage such as preliminary, that phase of it is, we can review that too. So just another thought too. Sure,
and if I suggest if you end up using that, if you could then add it to the definitions side. And in that way, everybody's consistent. Okay, thank you. Good, great discussion, committee. Seeing that, is there, yes, ma'am? Okay. Okay, yes. If possible, could I have a motion, I think maybe to defer that, to give them a chance to go through the red and blue lines again? Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Legree. All those in favor? Opposed? None, it's carried. Thank you, committee. Thank you, Deputy Clerk, for saving us from me. E3.4, Council Remuneration Review for 2026-2030 Council Term. Recommended action that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve option 1, council remuneration for the 2026-2030 term based on the 75th percentile amount as presented in Schedule A. Can I have a mover, please? Oh, I'm sorry. My apology. Fees and charges. My apologies. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council pass option 1. That's what had me confused. To update via bylaw the fees and charges effective as of January 1st, 2026, as attached in Schedules A to E. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, and second, Councillor McDonald. And Treasurer Hodge, please. My apologies. Too many option 1s and schedules, and I just read them together.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. So this report, E3.3, is for the 2026 fees and charges, and it's to update the fees and charges effective January 1st, 2026, as you noted in the recommendation. This is something that's often reviewed annually, and which is good practice to do so. And what we have here attached to the report is Schedules A through E, which are fees and charges by department. And they have been reviewed by each department. And so in follow-up to that, I'm bringing this report forward. And what is recommended is in the schedules in red, and they would be effective January 1st, 2026. So what we've recommended is option 1, to update the fees and charges bylaw for January 1st, 2026, so no changes would come into effect between now and December 31st. I'll just make note of some key changes on those schedules, and also note that there was attached an example of a draft bylaw that would show how this would come into effect.
Thank you. Questions, comments? I'm sorry.
If you like, I'll just give a few quick examples of some of the changes that are present.
Please do. I was madly scrolling through, so I'm glad you'll do that. Thank you.
So just very quickly, the first section is for the Office of the CEO and the Town Clerk. What you'll see there is some changes to do with civil ceremonies, and basically it breaks it out by location and allocates the fees accordingly. Those the Visitor Information Center and McDougall Mill Museum would be new fees based on location. Some other changes are a change for archive recovery and routine disclosure requests, and you're going to see that fee noted in each department section, and it's based on bylaw 30-2025 as it reads there, and which is a routine disclosure policy. So you'll see that $7.50 per 15 minutes repeating throughout the fee schedule as you go down, because it's a standardized fee. Moving down through the schedules here, there were some updates in regards to cat and dog licenses, and they're highlighted there as well. And then if you go down, there's some changes to zoning and development fees, such as a new extension for draft approvals, and the pre-consultation fee would be a new fee as well that's shown there listed in red for a change. And then also going down farther down the list, when you get through the waste area. There was an update to the reimbursement for a composter from $30 to $50 is what's being proposed. And then also they added pre-ground wood material, which is $80 a ton, which did not exist previous as a fee or a charge. And then if we continue down, another change was turning water on and off at the same time is a new fee added, and what they've done there is they've taken what would previously be a charge for the water to go on, then another charge for it to go off, which still exists at $65 per occurrence. But if you do that simultaneously, then it's a $75 fee, so it's reflecting the economy of doing that all at once instead of two separate occasions for a benefit to the water user. And then when you get down into the recreational area, there's a number of adjustments to fees for things like the gym membership, the fitness center, and room rentals, which is basically just refining and making small adjustments throughout those fees to bring them into alignment. And those are fees that were looked at, and each section has been updated as recommended by each department head. Basically just brought in the whole listing here in this report this evening. And so earlier we had the public meeting, and we also have had this posted on the town website publicly, so people have had a chance to look at it. I have not seen any comments through email or anything yet, and we didn't receive any here this evening, so that's the recommended changes for this evening.
Okay, thank you. And I see the last definition, you defined what a full day means. So you clarified it. That's good. Council, any comments? Councillor Legree?
To you, Reeve, email to the treasurer. I think I understand this. So machinery and labor services, I think I asked this last year too, but I want to ask it again. This is, so for a tandem axle dump truck and operators, $80 an hour. That's just what we're billing ourselves if we're doing something for the town. That doesn't mean a resident can get a tandem dump truck with an operator at $80 an hour, correct? Because I don't think that even hardly covers our costs.
Yeah, I don't think we're booking construction
that's
services.
Just to clarify.
No.
And I have one other.
Sometimes also you could see like intermunicipal, like if you had a boundary road where there were shared costs, you might attribute that cost.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's a
just for us to keep
cost
track. Okay. And I have one other. I had one.
Please, yes.
Sorry, one more. Just with the animal pound, just so I'm reading it right, is it going from $25 a day to $15? I'm just not sure if I'm looking at it right or not.
The way the chart is currently reading, in yellow I see no change, but I do see a change in red. So I might have to find out who's handling the. That looks like bylaw 17-2000 might have been an old bylaw, so I might have to get the assistance of the clerks on that to find out maybe how that's being updated.
Yeah,
because I'm actually not quite sure.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, thank you. That's it.
CEO, please.
So through Reeve, to clarify, that's indicating that the bylaw that actually governs the cats and dogs and the impoundment still references the rates that are in red. And so if this is adjusted, we've made the note in there. If you see kind of the top line in that page that's in notes, that we're recommending that we come forward so that the rates are pulled out of that bylaw and just referenced to the annual fees and charges bylaw. So because the actual rates that we were charging were the $100 and the $25, those two amounts, which were being recommended to kind of stay the same in the yellow. So this is just, it was more of a note that the separate bylaw that actually governs the licensing and control of cats and dogs refers to old rates that we haven't used in a while.
Perfect, thank you.
Any further questions? All right, committee, I'm going to call a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, committee. Now to the exciting piece. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve Option 1, council remuneration for the 2026-2030 term based on the 75th percentile amount as presented, in Schedule 1. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, second Councillor McDonald, and Treasurer Hodge, please.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. So this report is in regards to council remuneration for the 2026 to 2030 council term. And so what we're seeing here is some information that was taking place in 2024. So, and it's based on a section of the Municipal Act that would satisfy the election cycle. So one of those bullet points I've gotten here is that council shall review a bylaw at a public meeting at least once during the 4-year period corresponding to the term of office of its members after a regular election. So looking back, I had seen that in March 2024, there was a resolution passed that approved proceeding with a review of remuneration and for it to be done internally by finance staff. And that did occur at that time, and that is what's attached. And this essentially is bringing it forward and closing the loop here on this information before the next term of council. So the results are displayed in attached Schedule A and would refer to the next term. The option recommended is Option 1, which would be to update it based on the 75th percentile amount as presented in Schedule A. And if approved, it would result in an increase in council remuneration. So that is shown on Schedule A, the council remuneration review with the methodology from 2024 that staff had prepared at that time. So I've brought in that here this evening. And if you look down in the bottom right corner, we are listing the difference between this, what also reflects what was previously mentioned this evening is the change in the composition of council to the 6 councillors and a mayor from current structure. So if you look down here, the ultimate increase difference is listed where the current structure would be 155,309 and the new structure would be 189,796 as projected. And this, as I had said, it refers to Section 283 of the Municipal Act, and this would satisfy that. And then also Option 2, of course, is to just keep it as it is, if that were the option chosen.
Okay, questions from members of committee, please. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. Obviously, it's a new schedule. Is cost of living built into it, or is that something that's voted on too, in terms of, because I believe now we have a cost of living that's annually calculated. Am I correct on that,
CEO, please.
So through you, Reeve, that is correct. The current bylaw does have it built in that whatever the increase is given to the non-union group each year with budget is the same rate that's applied to the council. So basically whatever rates you're establishing would be the 2027 rates for the new council when they come in, or well, I guess November 15th. Of 2026 on, and then they would get a percentage increase after that based off of the non-union rates unless council wishes to change that section of that bylaw.
Councillor McWhorter.
So that's already built into the agreement every year. It's assessed based on the non-union. Is that the way I'm reading it?
Yes. So the current bylaw is written that way. So unless we're directed otherwise, the next bylaw would be written with that same clause in it. So.
Okay. Seeing no further questions or comments, I'll call the vote. Councillor Legree, you're just getting ready to vote?
Yeah, I thought I'm okay.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, committee. And next is E.3.5, that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the proposal provided by Neptune Technologies for replacement of 1,429 water meters in the proposed amount of $1,086,019.22, inclusive of HST over the 2025 and 2026 fiscal years. And the Council passes a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Neptune Technology Group Canada as presented. And further, the Council recommends to the Budget Committee to include the proposed increase in expenses and funding required in the amount of $150,000 to the proposed 2026 budget allocations to be financed through the water and sewer reserves. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter, and we'll turn to Deputy Treasurer Ferguson, please.
Thank you, Reeve. So just a little bit of background. Council was presented a report in July seeking approval to proceed with the project that was approved as part of the 2025 budget. It was deferred to provide a cost analysis back to Council. That came in August. There were a variance presented to Council with relation to in-house versus contracting it out to a company such as Neptune. It was determined at that time that it would be that staff would sign a notice of intention to negotiate, and we did that from that day. Since then, Neptune Technology Canada has provided a proposal to staff and the town, with a cost breakdown to replace the 1,429 meters. Before you is the snippet from the actual proposal for the schedule of the pricing. So just to go through that, you'll see that the 1,429 meters at $650 per meter is $928,000 and change. There's a trade surcharge on there in the amount of $32,000. There is a portion of non-rebatable HST that would be borne by the municipality that would be non-rebatable in the amount of $16,000, bring the total project cost that would impact the budgets at $977,000 or $978,000 if you wanted to round. So it also identifies, the proposal also identifies provisional costs that could occur once the installers are out in the field. I did have some brief discussions with the people from Neptune. They are required, obviously, to identify these provisional costs. It's for costs anything that is outside of their normal scope. So line freezing, curb stop fees, crawl space, they do have a threshold of work they can do before they fall into these provisional line items, but it is important to note. Because of these provisional items, staff have taken basically an average of the unit prices, and then we estimated that it was a high estimate. I will be very forward. A high estimate, about 1,000 instances where 1,000 meters need a provisional work. That is a high estimate. I believe it's probably better to estimate that and not need any. And we took the average price of all these units, so 1,000 at $72 per unit, gave us about an additional $72,000 to look for in kind of in the form of a contingency on top of the $78,000. That's where the $150,000 increase from $900,000 came from. It should be identified that there's $75,000 from each water and sewer would be required, not $150,000 from both. It would be split between the two. So in that, the options here are proceed as presented. This would replace approximately 56% of all the aged out meters, which are 20 years or older, and approximately 42% of all meters within the town of Renfrew in just this one phase. Replacing meters of this age class results in much more accurate readings, as we've discussed before, as when a meter starts to die, it doesn't go from 20 cubic meters per billing period to 0. It goes 20 in the one period, 18 in the next period, 16 in the next period. So there's an cumulative loss. It's not just 20 to 0. So it's important to note that it would actually mitigate any slow fails. That's option 1. Option 2 is not proceed and ask Neptune to provide a new proposal. And option 3 is also to defer the project for a future year. That is obviously a council's decision. And yeah, any questions? Happy to answer.
Thank you. Councillor McWhirter?
You, Chair. So you're saying $150,000 for consideration for the budget increase. Is that not through water and waste, like through the water account? All funding, would it not go through the water account? So the $150,000 wouldn't be added to the tax levy, it would be added to the water rate, would it not? Or am I reading that wrong?
Deputy Treasurer?
Thank you. Through it is correct. It'd be through the water and sewer fund. So water and sewer reserves would be used to finance any requirement to tap into the additional funds.
McWhirter?
Chair, follow up. So that's already factored into the water rate we discussed at the budget, no?
Deputy Treasurer?
Thank you. Through you. No, that's the reason for the last part of this recommendation, is that it is not included just with the timing of the budget for October 1st and then the proposal received by Neptune. We did not have a proposal when the budget went out to council. So in addition to the $225,000 that's identified in water and in sewer as capital costs, there would be a request for an additional 75 in both, bringing those to 300,000 each. And then to offset those costs, we would finance that through the water and sewer reserves for an additional 75,000 in each.
And what would the tax, you have no idea on that? What would be the outcome? For the water rate, sorry.
Because the water rates are set by the water study, so it would not have an impact in today's terms for the water rates for 2026.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Sobalski?
Thank you, through you, Reeve. Just curious, I know I'm not seeing it, but just for reference, did we do a cost analysis if we would have had our own manpower do this? Understanding that we're short on manpower, for say, to do it, but at least understand what the difference is of us doing it in-house compared to subbing it out.
Yes, Deputy Treasurer.
Yeah, thank you, through you. Unfortunately, it was at the August 26th meeting. I don't think you were actually present, so that's just unfortunate timing, but it did come back to that meeting in August. We can circulate that to you as well if you'd like, but it did show I don't want to give false numbers. There was a variance, though, a significant variance between per meter costs for in-house versus contracted out.
Okay, thank you. My apologies.
Thank you. No. There's a lot of paper floating around, and virtual paper. Any further questions? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, it's carried. Thank you, committee. And we move to E4. There is nothing. E5, E6, and E7 as well. There is nothing. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so E8, that Renfrew Town Council arrives from Committee of the Whole. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McWhirter, second by Councillor Legree. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, committee. External boards, nothing. G, items for considerations. That Renfrew Town Council authorized the release of the secondary payment of $5,000 to the Renfrew Area Chamber of Commerce as originally identified in the approved 2025 budget. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Legree. And would either one of you like to comment? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Mayor. Just an update. And with regard to the Chamber has recently undergone significant restructuring to ensure long-term sustainability. This has included a reduction in staff hours to align with a balanced budget, as well as a comprehensive review and update with regard to policies and procedures. We're also implementing a new code of conduct to strengthen accountability and transparency. The Chamber Board is composed of dedicated and engaged members who have been actively recruiting new members and re-engaging existing ones. As a result, we have experienced substantial growth in membership, enhancing our financial stability and reinforcing our support for the local business community. Last week, we proudly hosted the annual Pinnacle of Business Excellence Award Supper with more than 150 tickets sold, a testament to the community's enthusiasm and support The Chamber remains a vital part of the historical and economic fabric of our local business community, and based on the efforts that I've seen firsthand and the measurable progress, I believe the Chamber has fulfilled the requirements established by Council and therefore qualifies to receive the remaining $5,000 as approved in the 2025 budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. G2, that Renfrew Town Council support the observance of the 2-minute wave of silence on November 11th at 11 a.m. and encourage the public to continue the momentum of remembrance through this tribute to the men and women to whom all Canadians owe so much. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. And we move to H1, correspondence. And so we have a resident correspondence, an A. McCormick, with regards to Mattaway. Is Council interested in having a direction to staff to respond to that? And to the other one, H2, which is the same individual? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Reeve, and I know we're in the midst of trying to decide what the format is, but I wouldn't mind staff taking a look at it and what they can respond to respond appropriately with regard to the both of them. And I guess to the CEO, we're in the midst of looking at a policy or procedure with regard to correspondence coming in. Am I correct in that?
CEO, please.
So that is correct, that actually was one of the items that will be coming forward in section J.1, where it was at Committee of the Whole at the last meeting, and so it's on for Council approval to proceed with the correspondence policy. Once that's passed, then we'll be able to follow our new set rules and make sure that's clearly stated on our website for anyone in the public.
Okay, thank you. So should we then, Councillor McDonald?
Yeah, for H1 and H2, as it's deemed appropriate with the new policy that's coming in, I guess we'll refer to that. Is that?
So we'll just need a motion then to direct us to have these ones applied as they came in kind of before a policy would be in place, just for record's sake.
Okay, so the motion would read that the correspondence list as H.1 and H.2 be responded to by staff as detailed as they are able to make it. I'm sorry?
We're trying to get your attention.
Oh.
Through you, Reeve Emo. So I just want to confirm from what I gathered and from what you just said that this captures your motion, that Renfrew Town Council directs staff to provide written response to Ms. McCormick in relation to her correspondence dated August 1st, 2025, H1, in relation to Mattaway, and August 23rd, 2025, which is H2, in relation to procedural questions.
Okay, thank you. I think it was October 1. Was the first one.
Okay, I'll correct that.
Thank you. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor McWhirter. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And H3. H4, municipal correspondence with regards to the town of Whitby, blue box collection and impact to small businesses. We did have a delegation at AMO with regards to this topic, and do you want another letter sent? I can also inform you that I've been directed by County Council to insert the Warden's Office into this conversation because it encompasses all of every municipality, but not the county. So as soon as I will be sending a letter, so if with your indulgence, I would just copy that to you, and then you could decide after that if that makes sense. Or what would you like, Councillor Legree?
Through you, Revimo, I would like a letter sent from you,
Okay.
I guess, to us, whatever. Yeah.
Me as warden or me as acting mayor?
No, acting mayor, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
Sometimes I've had a tough time figuring out who I'm sending it on. Okay, so I will, with council's, if I could just get a motion from you in a second, or if you don't mind, please.
I move the motion.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor McDonald seconds. And you're okay?
Yeah. Can
Okay.
you confirm what the motion was exactly? Just like
So the motion would be to the minister in support and with similar concerns that are expressed by the town of Whitby. Okay. So you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And confirmation of minutes, normally we'd have them, but due to the timing of the agenda release, the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on October 21 will be brought forward to the regular meeting of November 12th for approval. And we'll move to J, which is matters arising from Committee of the Whole, that Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolutions considered in the Committee of the Whole on October 21, 2025. Number one, that Renfrew Town Council approve in principle the location of a recycling depot at the Renfrew landfill and delegate remaining negotiations and authority to enter into an agreement with Circular Materials Ontario for the operation of the same. Number two, that Renfrew Town Council establish a correspondence policy, and further, that a bylaw with identified amendments be brought forward for council's consideration and adoption. 3, that Renfrew Town Council confirm member attendance at priority 2026 conferences, and further, that council directs staff to complete conference registrations and delegation requests as identified. 4, that Renfrew Town Council approve the suggested amendments to the full-time and attention policy, and further, that the appropriate bylaw is brought forward. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second Councillor McDonald. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. J2, matters arising directly from the Committee of the Whole, that Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolutions considered in Committee of the Whole on October 28. E.3.5, that Renfrew Town Council approve the proposal provided by Neptune Technologies for the replacement of 1,429 water meters in the proposed amount of $1,086,000, $86,019.22, inclusive of HST, over the 2025 and 2026 fiscal years, and that Council passes a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Neptune Technology Group Canada as presented, and further, the Council recommends to the Budget Committee to include the proposed increase in expenses and funding required in the amount of $150,000 to the proposed 2026 budget allocations to be financed through the water and sewer reserves. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McWhirter, seconder. Councillor Legree, and discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you, Council. K, bylaws. Sorry, K. Yes, got it. Okay. Number 94-2025, being a bylaw to temporarily appoint Reeve Peter Remo as acting mayor in the absence of Mayor Sidney. 95-2025, being a bylaw to authorize the Reeve and Town Council to execute a construction agreement with the We Got It Covered Roofing and Renovations for the roof replacement for the municipal garage in the amount of $157,000, excluding HST. 96-2025, being a bylaw of the Corporation of Town of Renfrew to authorize long-term borrowing pursuant to the issuance of debentures to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, in the principal amount of $20 million towards the cost of the capital works. 97-2025, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Renfrew to authorize long-term borrowing pursuant to the issuance of debentures to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC in the principal amount of $6,726,993.40 towards the cost of capital works. 98-2025 being a bylaw to adopt the revised full-time and attention policy. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Cebulski. So you ask yourself, we have a procedural bylaw, why do we need to appoint me? And I'm going to tell you it's because Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation would not accept our procedural bylaw as authorization for me to sign as acting mayor, that it had to have a special bylaw recognizing that. Madam CEO, is that reasonably close to accurate?
So through you, Reeve, that is correct. The OILC does not permit a procedural bylaw to act as the appointment bylaw in the cases of signing these debentures. So this that first bylaw that was on the list was purely in order to have it passed technically before, because it's numbered before the two loans, in order for them to accept the loan documents that we are providing them. Otherwise, if they do not get signed at this time, there's a significant delay. We won't get the same interest rates, and I believe there's a small penalty for not completing it within the original agreed to time period. So we're just trying to make sure that they are satisfied in their paperwork, and that's why that bylaw in there for appointing the formal appointment bylaw, in order to make sure they have all their I's dotted and T's crossed.
Any further comments, discussion? Councillor McWhirter?
Through you, Chair, just to clarify, the borrowing of this money has already been, this is sort of like second time around because they didn't accept the first authorization. Is that what I'm reading?
Madam CEO?
So through you, Reeve, technically council authorized a application for these loans back several years ago. The one was for the construction of the MyFM Center. The other one was for, I think it was the Argyle Street project. So council's already approved to apply for these loans. This is just the process. There's been a lot of back and forth through emails and phone calls with Infrastructure Ontario, who manages the OILC, over the last probably 4.5 weeks to make sure that we had all the paperwork in line, as it is a very long process to actually get these bylaws and then the documents signed and registered with the lawyers.
Quick follow-up. So since it's taken this long, has the interest rate gotten better?
We had to lock in the interest rate that they gave us when they emailed it to us. We had 10 minutes on the $20 million loan and 4 hours on the other one to accept the interest rates, and then had to sign paperwork once we accepted it. It was a very short, very quick turnaround. So once we've locked in on those interest rates, if we do not complete this paperwork, that's where we'll have to owe a fee, because the OALC basically finds investors to bring in the money they need to be able to loan us the money. So they're basically have already made commitments on their side for interest out to their investors. So we won't get to see a different interest rate unless we do not complete this paperwork, but then we will also have a cost, and so any potential savings that may or may not exist would be lost in whatever fee we'd have to pay them.
Okay. And I was remiss, with council's indulgence, I should have said at the front end of the bylaws listed, and I did recite them, on the agenda of April 28 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. So if you will allow me to have added that in the front prior to the motion, I'd appreciate that. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. L1, Councillor McDonald, rationale for the postponement of the September 9th regular meeting of council. Do you want me to read that, sir? I'll just go ahead and read that. That Renfrew Town Council directs staff to include on the agenda of the regular meeting of council on November 25th, 2025, a closed session item for the purposes of providing CEO Gloria Raybone the opportunity to inform and provide council with the full information documentation on the rationale that was provided to Mayor Tom Sidney that was utilized in the decision-making to postpone the 19th of September 2025 regular council meeting. Sir, you'll move it?
Yes.
And seconder? Councillor Degree? Discussion? And I think, if I read my notes properly, that we already have a closed meeting scheduled for the 12th, as opposed to, I'm sorry, maybe you should clarify for me what my notes should have said.
So through you, Reeve, right now we already have a closed schedule for the 25th as a special meeting at 10 a.m. We don't currently have one scheduled for the 12th. And the 12th might be a very tight timeline for me to get the reports prepped, as the agenda would need to be issued next week. So the agenda would close on Wednesday with publishing on Thursday. So my question is are you wanting two closed meetings that day, one in the regular and then the special at the beginning, or would you prefer it all of the closed to be done at the special meeting at 10 a.m.?
Okay, so we'll move everything to the special at 10 a.m. Okay, so having had that discussion, all those in favor? I'm sorry? Sorry, friendly amendment. Can I suggest a friendly amendment? After 2025, put a comma at 10 a.m. Another comma, a closed session. Would that be sufficient?
Changing regular to special.
Okay. So what will we be changing? Oh, the regular. Okay, special. Oh, sorry, there'd be too small. So it would read that Renfrew Town Council directs staff to include on the agenda of the special meeting of council on November 25th, 2025 at 10 a.m. a closed session item for the purpose of providing CAO Gloria Raybone the opportunity to inform and provide council with the full information documentation on the rationale that was provided to the mayor, Tom Sidney, that was utilized in the decision-making to postpone the 9th of September 2025 regular council meeting. So I think those are friendly enough. I'm sorry?
Sorry, can we actually get a motion to amend it to that?
Okay, well, can we get a motion to reflect those amendments? Okay, thank you. And so we're going to vote on the amendments, which add the word special and adds the 10 a.m. All those in favor? Thank you. And now we'll vote on the amended motion, which I read earlier, if you're okay with that. And all those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you. Got it?
Got it all.
Perfect. Thank you. Notice of motion, closed session, I see none. Confirmatory bylaw. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, notice of motion. My apologies.
Thank you, Reeve. And I've sent this already to the clerk, just on email, the wording. The motion is that council directs staff to provide an update outlining the current total amount of outstanding tax arrears, a list of the properties that have reached the tax sale threshold, and a list of properties that are presently in the tax sale process. So just to tidy up what we were talking about earlier on through finance. Thank you.
Okay, can I we can't discuss that. My apologies. Okay. Okay, any other ones? I'm sorry. I was just trying to refine it, that was all. Any closed session? Seeing none. Confirmatory bylaw. That Renfrew Town Council adopt the confirmatory bylaw 19-2025, and that it be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Mover, please. Councillor McWhirter, second Councillor Legree. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you, Council. Upcoming meetings of Council and committees. The Budget Committee meeting next scheduled for October 31st, 2025 at 11 a.m. and we're aiming for a 2 p.m.-ish end for that because we have some members who have other commitments. Budget Committee public meeting November 12th at 5 p.m. Regular Council meeting November 12th at 5:30 p.m. or immediately following the Public Budget Committee meeting. Note, it's been changed to Wednesday evening And the Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting is November 12th, 2025 at 10 a.m. So with that, I would adjourn this meeting at 6:58 on this evening. And thank you very much, staff. Great job as always, and you allow us to have some flexibility to move things around a little bit. And to council, thank you very much for your reasoned discourse. So we're adjourned.